What should be our reaction to the latest news coming out since Shabbat? The reading of Khomeini, or whatever his name is, his henchman. What's our moral compass? Should we look at what Mandani, Harris, or every sane human being? So we know we only have what the Torah teaches us. I want to share with you an amazing insight on reactions to this kind of event. But before this, certainly we say thank you to Hashem, because the miracles are beyond anything that one can only expect. And tzedakah, my dear friends. Tzedakah saves from everything. So let me get into this concept. What is the proper way? First, let me share with you a Gemara. We're 2 days away from Purim. It happened on Shabbos Zachor, the Shabbos where we read the remembering the eradication of Haman. So the Talmud tells the following anecdote. We know in the story that when Achashverosh called on Haman asking, what should one do to give honor to somebody that the king wants to honor him? He thinking that probably it's about himself, so he went all out. Should get dressed in the kingly garments, put on the crown, and one of the top ministers should walk him on the king's horse and proclaiming, this is what you do for someone that the king wants to honor. And Achashverosh looks at him cynically and says, do it for Mordechai. So the Gemara has a whole discussion what the preparation to this event was, and then the Gemara says the following. At one point, when Mordechai had to get on the saddle of the horse, Mordechai tells him, I can't. I'm too tired. I've been fasting for 3 days. So it says that Haman bent down. Mordechai stepped on him to be able to get onto the horse. But while he stepped on him, he gave him a good kick. Haman was disappointed. Poor Haman Nebuch. And he says to him the following. Doesn't it say in your writings, actually it says in Proverbs, Ben foil oyivcha al tismach, when the fall of your enemy, don't celebrate? So why are you celebrating now by kicking me? My fall. And Mordechai says, it doesn't apply to you. Now why not? So here we have, first of all, a verse in Mishle that says, do not celebrate when your enemy falls. In the same Mishle, in the same Proverbs, there's another verse that says the following. Betuv tzadikim taloitz kirya. When the righteous prosper, the city exalts. And this is in Mishle, chapter 10, verse 11. So it says, Betuv tzadikim taloitz kirya. When the righteous prosper, the city exalts. But ba'aboid rishoim rina. When the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. So what is it? Chapter 10 of Mishle says, celebrate when the wicked perish. Chapter 24 says, don't celebrate when your enemy falls. Now, Iran leadership, not the Iranian people, but Khomeini and all his henchmen, they're definitely wicked. Definitely our enemies. Enemies of whole society, of the whole civilized world. Now those who don't think so, they're not civilized. So, but how do we reconcile these two verses? The answer says the Arizal. Rabbi Yitzchak Lurin, Kabbalah says the following. Depends who you deal with. Do you deal with somebody who is totally, completely wicked? Or do you deal with someone who is evil, but it has some good in him? Oh. So the one that has still some good in her, you don't celebrate their downfall. You celebrate your protection. You celebrate that you were saved. But the one who is absolutely wicked, that's a Molech that needs to be eradicated. Interesting. This is in verse 11. Today was Shabbos when this happened, was the 11th day of the month of Adar, when we read the eradication of Amalek. Friends, let's celebrate. And we hope that with the eradication of Amalek, we'll come to the final step of the redemption with Mashiach now.